Liebe Freunde, herzlich willkommen zu unserem Sprachprogramm. Hearty welcome to the German language program offered by D-Sales Academy. Today, we are going to discuss about one of the important topics in German language, das Perfekt. How to make the perfect sentences to speak about the past events in German language. Movement of time or effect of time is spoken in three different ways in any languages. To speak about the events that have happened already, we use the past forms. In German, we use the Vergangenheit forms. To speak about the events that are happening currently, we use the present forms, that is the Gegenwart. In order to speak about the events that are going to happen in the future, we speak future sentences or we use statements in the Zukunft. To speak about the events that have already happened, in German we can make three different forms of sentences. First form of sentences in the perfect, to speak about an action that is already completed in the past, which has the similarity to present perfect tense in English, and we have the usage of preteritum of the verb form, which is simple past in English language, and also we use plusquamperfect in German language, and plusquamperfect is used to speak about the events that have happened already sometime in the distant past. In this video, essentially we are going to discuss about das Perfekt, that is used to speak about the events that have already just taken place or that have already happened in the past. Usually, perfect sentences are used in spoken language as well as in informal letters. They are used in gesprochenen Sprache. Let's see how perfect sentences are made in German language. The form to make perfect sentences are sein oder haben form plus we use the third form of the verb, or we use the participe zwei form of the verb. In English, we call it as past participle. We decide whether to use haben or the sein form depending upon the nature of the verb. If a verb is showing movement, along with the verbs which are showing movement, we use sein form, and with the verbs which are not showing movement, we use haben form. Haben oder sein is placed in the second position, haben oder sein is conjugated, and the participe zwei form of the verb is placed at the end of this sentence. Let's analyze two examples in this regard. Markus hat die Hausaufgaben gemacht. In the given example, we have used the participe zwei form of the verb machen, and it is placed at the end of the sentence. Since the verb machen does not show any movement, we have used the haben form, and haben form is placed in the second position. So haben is conjugated according to the subject Markus. Markus hat die Hausaufgaben gemacht. The different forms of the verb machen is, that's machen present form, machte preteritum, and participe zwei form is hat gemacht. Let's look at the second example. Tanja ist 6 Uhr aufgestanden. We have used the participe zwei form of aufstehen in this sentence, and it is placed at the end of the sentence. Since the verb aufstehen is showing movement, we have used the sein form in this sentence, and the sein form is placed in the second position, and it is conjugated according to the subject Tanja. Tanja ist 6 Uhr aufgestanden. Let's now look at which are the situations in which haben is used. Haben is used definitely with accusative verbs as accusative object, or verbs which are taking accusative object like machen, kaufen, lesen, etc. Wir haben ein Handy gekauft. Now let's see how we make the preteritum form as well as the participe zwei form of various regelmäßige verbs in present tense. It is very difficult to make a clear-cut distinction between regular verbs and irregular verbs. We cannot make a clear-cut distinction between regular verbs or irregular verbs based on any pattern, because of which we need to learn by heart which are the regular verbs as well as which are the irregular verbs. However, it is quite easy for one to make preteritum form as well as the participe zwei form from the present form of regular verbs. Now we have some regular verbs here. For example, machen, the preteritum form is machte, participe zwei form is hat gemacht. In order to make preteritum from the regular verb machen, we need to take the stem of the verb machen, and we have already learned to take the stem of the verb we need to remove the last 2 letters, and when we remove the last 2 letters we get the stem of the verb mach, and along with the mach, which is the stem of the verb, we add te, so it is machte. It is preteritum form, and to get the participe zwei form of the verb machen, along with machte, add ge at the beginning of machte and remove the last e. So we get the participe zwei form gemacht. Hat gemacht is the participe zwei form. Let's analyze one more example. Spielen. Spielen is a regular verb. So in order to make the preteritum form, take the verb spielen, take the stem of the verb spielen. You get the stem of the verb by removing the last 2 letters, and the stem of the verb is spiel. With the stem of the verb spiel, add te and you get the preteritum. And again, to get the participe zwei form from the preteritum form, you add ge along with preteritum and remove the last a. So it is gespielt. So some of the verbs that we have discussed are machen, machte, hat gemacht, kochen, kochte, hat gekocht, wohnen, wohnte, hat gewohnt, spielen, spielte, hat gespielt, kaufen, kaufte, hat gekauft, lieben, liebte, hat geliebt, hören, hörte und hat gehört. We have 2 examples using the regular verbs or regelmäßige Verben. Die Kinder haben die Hausaufgaben gemacht. Haben is placed in the second position and haben is conjugated according to the subject die Kinder, and the participe zwei form of machen is placed at the end of the sentence, that is gemacht. Die Frau hat eine Suppe gekauft. That is, we have placed haben in the second position and it is conjugated according to the subject die Frau. Die Frau hat eine Suppe gekocht, and we have used the participe zwei form of kochen. There is a change in the making of the preteritum and participe zwei form of some verbs which are ending in earan. That is, some of the regular verbs which are ending in E, A, R, A, N do not take ge at the beginning of participes Y. This is an exception to the above mentioned rule. That is, verbs, regular verbs which are ending in E, A, R, A, N do not have ge at the beginning of participes Y. So, when we analyze the different forms of these verbs, what we get is studieren, present tense, preteritum is studierte, and participes Y form is hat studiert. Notieren, preteritum is notierte, and participes Y form is hat notiert. Telefonieren, preteritum is telefonierte, and participes Y form is hat telefoniert. Fotografieren, preteritum is fotografierte, and participes Y form is hat fotografiert. We do not say hat gefotografiert. When verbs are ending in E, A, R, A, N, they do not have ge at the beginning of participes Y form. That is to be remembered. We have few sentences with such kind of verbs like Max hat an der Uni studiert. Max studied at the university. Wir haben die Gäste fotografiert. It is not wir haben die Gäste gefotografiert. It is wir haben die Gäste fotografiert. Und ich habe die Wörter notiert. I have noted down the words. Now let us discuss about unregelmäßige Verben as well as their preteritum and participes Y form. There are no clear-cut rules which says that we can form in any specific way preteritum as well as participes Y from the present form of unregelmäßige Verben. Some of the verbs present form, preteritum and participes Y form of unregelmäßige Verben we can discuss. Geben, present form, gab is preteritum and participes Y form is gegeben. Lesen, it is las, and hat gelesen is participes Y form. Helfen, present form, preteritum is half, and participes Y form is hat geholfen. Sprechen, present form, preteritum is sprach, participes Y form is hat gesprochen. Treffen is present form, preteritum is traf, and participes Y form is hat getroffen. Finden is present form, preteritum is fand, and participes Y form is hat gefunden. We have few examples to be discussed with unregelmäßige Verben as well as their participes Y form. Mara hat die Zeitung gelesen. Mara has read the newspaper. Wir haben Deutsch gesprochen. We have spoken German. Ich habe meine Freunde getroffen. I have met my friends. Now let us discuss about some of the verbs that are taking sign in the second position. I have said at the beginning of this video that in the second position we place haben or their sign depending upon the nature of the verb used in the sentence. If the verb used in the sentence is showing a movement, then we use sign, and we use the sign form and it is conjugated based on the subject. If the verb is not showing movement, then we use haben form, and haben is placed in the second position and haben is conjugated according to the subject. Now let's see some of the verbs that are taking sign form or some of the verbs that are showing movement. Fahren, fuhr, ist gefahren. Gehen, ging, ist gegangen. Kommen, kam, ist gekommen. Laufen, lief, ist gelaufen. Fliegen, flog, ist geflogen, schwimmen, schwam ist geschwommen, and we have one exception to this rule, that is the verb bleiben. When we analyze the word bleiben, essentially it does not show any kind of movement, but bleiben is always used with the sign or with the sign form. Haben or the sign is placed in the second position and the verb in its participle zwei form is placed at the end of the sentence. It is to be understood and noted that when we want to make sentences in perfect, haben or the sign is placed in the second position, the participle zwei form is placed at the end of the sentence. We decide whether to use haben or the sign depending upon the nature of the verb. If the verb shows movement, we use sign form. If the verb do not show movement, we use haben form. Now we have two examples in this regard. The sign form used along with two verbs that are showing movement. Wir sind nach Cochin gefahren. In the sentence given, we have used the participle zwei form of fahren. Fahren is a verb that is showing movement. Therefore, we have used the sign form in the second position, and the sign is used depending upon the nature of the subject. Wir sind nach Cochin gefahren. Another example is der Zug ist 8 Uhr angekommen. We have used in this sentence ankommen, and participle zwei form of ankommen is angekommen. Ankommen is a verb that is showing movement. Therefore, we have used the sign form in the second position and it is conjugated according to the subject der Zug. Der Zug ist 8 Uhr angekommen. Hope you had a clear-cut understanding about the usage of das perfect in different situations. Thank you for your patient listening. Please check out for the videos from Diesel's Academy in order to clarify your doubts regarding various German language lessons. Thank you.